Welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. Governor Greg Abbott is still trying to pitch a deal on school vouchers. He has called lawmakers back to Austin for a fourth special session. Some lawmakers in the House are against funding private schools with public tax dollars because access to private schooling is limited outside big cities, and many say it will hurt public school systems. Joining us now to talk about it is Texas State Representatives Jolanda Jones and Ron Reynolds. Glad to have you all back here on The Factor Uncensored. How many times are you guys going to go back to Austin for this? You couldn't even be on my show last night.
I couldn't. Neither could he.
No, we couldn't.
Neither could he, because we were in Austin.
Yeah.
All right, so no, we can't. And I'm going to go back as many times as he calls it, because he thinks that if he keeps calling them, it's going to wear us down. We're not. And let me be clear. They cannot pass it. We have beat it down over 11 months.
Yep.
One regular session and 3 special sessions. And it's not just Democrats. It's bipartisan.
Right.
So, and vouchers will destroy urban schools as well as rural schools, and public money should stay in public schools.
And let's make it simple for the viewer. When you say vouchers, and we talk about public schools and private schools, how does that work? Will they take money from public schools and then give it to private schools?
Well, they ain't gonna do nothing because it ain't gonna pass. But if
in theory, they will literally take money. Right now, they've moved it up to $10,000. Now, let me be clear: the allotment for a kid now, a student now, is $6,000. But if we gonna let you give welfare to rich people for your kids to go to private school, they've raised it to $10,000. Help me understand that. It doesn't make any sense to me. And there's a finite pot of money. So every time they take money out to give to a private school, that public school loses money. In rural places, they're gonna be closing down schools. In HISD and other schools like that, the money follows the kid, and obviously more money will follow the kid. And so it's going to be beat down. The governor has threatened to call another special session, and guess what? He can call it, and he ain't gonna wear me down. He's not gonna wear Chairman Reynolds down. We vote no. I'm a hard no. And Representative Reynolds, for the Republicans who have said no to this, why are they saying no to this?
Because just like Representative Jones said, these rural Republicans, not the MAGA Republicans, but the rural Republicans are saying, hey, if we vote for vouchers, we're voting against our own interests. The lifeline of the rural communities is the school in terms of jobs. So if we vote in favor of vouchers, we're basically voting to shut down our communities, because that is where the people are employed at, in their public schools. And like Jolanda said, vouchers are just there to subsidize the wealthy. So if you can already afford to send your kids to private school, you're basically getting subsidized payments for your children's private school tuition. Isaiah, if you're barely making ends meet and I say, hey, here's $10,000, come up with the other $10,000, and you can send your kid to private school, you're gonna say, well, I can't do that. And they say, okay, well, too bad. This voucher is not for you then. That's really what it is, essentially.
Now, what do you say to parents out there, Representative Reynolds, who say, I would like to have this choice. I would like to send my kid to a private school?
I would say that right now that it's designed for the wealthy. Private schools, they are very, very expensive, right? Just like a private college. That's why you have great public institutions like HBCUs, like UT, like TSU, U of H, where she went. But if you want to send your kid to a private school, then you have to have private school kind of money, unless they have a scholarship or some other kind of subsidy, but not our public dollars. Texas already ranks 43rd out of 50th in funding per pupil. We're already near the bottom of states with funding our public schools as it is. Teachers need a much-needed pay raise, and Governor Abbott, instead of giving teachers a much-needed pay raise, he's trying to tie it to the voucher scam. And Jolanda and I and many of our Democratic colleagues in the rural Republicans have said, hell no, not on our watch.
But let me say this: most private schools cost more than $25,000. So $10,000 ain't getting you nowhere. And in a public school, then they have to take you if you go. In private schools, they get to pick. So you think they're just gonna let us in? And they don't give you transportation. So how's a poor parent gonna get their kids to school? And it's really exacerbated in rural places because there's more
they're just farther away, and they don't have to give you free and reduced lunch in private schools. They don't have to accommodate your disabilities in private schools. They don't have to accommodate SPED in private schools. What about the kids who need people to change their diapers or whatever? They don't have that. Private schools don't take those kinds of kids. So it's not school choice.
That's right.
That's a misnomer. The school gets the choice.
And really quick, as we wrap up, what I've always thought about is you guys. You have to keep going back to these special sessions, and it costs you money, right?
It sure does.
It's not funded by the state.
I'm staying in a hotel. I got to find somewhere to stay. Sometimes when they have stuff going on in Austin, the rooms cost more than the per diem we're getting. We got to pay for stuff to eat. I can't practice law. In fact, I need a rich girlfriend. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Thank you guys for joining us here on The Factor Uncensored. We appreciate your time tonight.